I think the big story of the week was the fact that the Baseball Hall of Fame opted not to elect anybody this year. What do you think?
Listen, it's not a shocker. You kind of knew with Bonds and Clemens that this was going to be, wait to the last minute and then we'll see what happens. Schilling, I think, what did he just say? He just said basically, don't even put me on the ballot next year. Just take me off the ballot. I don't want to go through the emotional situation of not being called again. So we'll wait and see what happens. I mean, listen, you've got these legends. Baseball's got to make a decision. I think they probably have. I think they're going to put Bonds in. I think they're going to put Clemens in, even though that they were known to be quote unquote cheaters of the game. This is just going to take a little bit while. This is the penalty. You wait till the very last minute and you say, all right, fine, you get in.
Yeah, but they didn't gain a lot by it. They were still significantly short. And next year, Bonds and Clemens are on their last year on the ballot. And as soon as they come off, A-Rod and David Ortiz, but these guys come on the ballot. So it's not going to get any better, is it?
I mean, I think it does get better, though. You look at the way that the public images of those two guys that come on the ballot next year versus the public images of the three guys you named before. I mean, Curt Schilling is a social pariah. Barry Bonds doesn't talk to anybody, even though he's back in baseball. And Roger Clemens has had his issues, too. Whereas, look, if you would have asked me of those five guys who the least popular would have been 10, 15 years later, I would have said Alex Rodriguez. Yet, somehow, he went from being the most hated baseball player in America to one of the most ideal pitchmen for products. He's on television. Everybody loves him. So look, I know it's supposed to be only on-field stuff, right? But that's a lie. Legends of guys get them into the Hall of Fame. If you want a lesson in controversy to being celebrated, you go study everything Alex Rodriguez has done. And frankly, I mean, I think he deserves it based on the work he's put in.
This is a popularity contest. Let's be really honest with this. If people like you, you're probably going to get in. And A-Rod has been working on his image the last, what would you say, 6-7 years or so, extremely hard. Bonds has been nowhere. Clemens has been nowhere. Schilling has been out there, and it hasn't been good. And I think this is where it all sort of leaves it. It's not based on how well these guys played when they played and their numbers stacking up at the time. This is turned into basically a popularity contest like a high school election.
I'm sorry. I do find it funny. Folks are making the argument that Curt Schilling isn't getting in the Hall of Fame because of the reputation that he's had the last couple of years. And I mean, it's a fair argument. But if you're going to take one out of those three guys, or if you're going to leave one off, it's going to be Schilling, right? And the fact that Schilling's arguing that his reputation, his history is what is keeping him out of the Hall, you can make the argument that his history is the only thing that's giving him consideration. If there's not a bloody sock game, are we even talking about Curt Schilling as compared to Orel Hershiser, who also isn't in the Hall of Fame right now? He's the one guy of those five, when you look at the numbers, that you can make a legitimate argument isn't a Hall of Fame pitcher.
I just throw two things out of what you guys have been saying. First, Lance Armstrong had said at one point, he says, what's the difference between me and A-Rod? I says, we're the same guy. We did the same things, and he's there, and I'm a pariah. And then the second thing, I think Curt Schilling, it got interesting after he said that he didn't want to be on the ballot with the baseball writers because he didn't respect their opinion anyway. The baseball writers have lobbied to include him on the ballot and to disregard this. It's not because we want to vote the guy in, because we want to stick it to him one more time. So, Tariq, since he talked Schilling. Does Curt Schilling belong in?
Based on the ability of playing baseball, yes, but I just said before, this is not just on that. I think it really matters what athletes, think about people who get into the Hall of Fame. How much controversy they have on or off the field, how much they still appreciate the game. What do they talk about the game? Are they good ambassadors for the game? All of these different things play in at the end of their career. Are they going to embarrass the Hall of Fame? All of that matters to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Last thing, Pat, why is this a baseball problem? Everybody has a Hall of Fame, and no one else seems to wrestle with things. Why has baseball got such an issue?
It's because you nerdy baseball diehards take it so freaking seriously, right? You want to say it's all about the numbers. And then, well, I mean, you being a numbers guy is going to make an argument, Bill, as to why, even off the field, that might be a reason to keep out a couple of guys. You don't have proof with some of these guys that they took steroids. There was presumptions. There's stories that have been done. Nothing was caught with Major League Baseball tests for a couple of them. Yet you've already decided, because they've lumped in with other people, and look, they probably did it. You guys have moving goalposts. You guys love to argue with each other. And it's kind of, Bill, you have to admit, I'm not talking about you per se,
Per
The
se.
cranky old guys who will not let baseball change are the reason why there's such an issue with Hall of Fame voting.
Or
And the
just
simple-
acknowledging the fact that that was an era. The steroid era was an era. Put it in. You want to put a little asterisk next to it. You want to put a little line next to it. Just acknowledge that it happened and we can move on. But greatness is greatness.
And I can see Roger Clemens agreeing to a line on his plaque saying, "Oh yeah, and he took steroids."